They knocked out my tooth. They chipped my tooth. I got bruises on me.
They're at her store. She's belligerent, telling them to leave her store.
An officer responded to a call at the TSU Library Center located at 3100 Claiborne Street in Harris County, Texas, regarding a disturbance. The officer made contact with the individual causing the disturbance, and the defendant approached asking officers what's going on and what did she do. The officers repeatedly asked the defendant to step back, and she became belligerent, asserting that they were at her store. She eventually complied and moved away, but she insisted that a police supervisor be called to the scene. TSU Sergeant Barnett arrived and spoke privately with the defendant. Afterwards, responding officer requested the defendant's information to report her behavior to her supervisor in the university. The defendant refused to provide it and attempted to bypass the officer. When the officer asked her to identify herself again, the defendant declined and attempted to walk away. As the officer tried to detain her, she began to throw herself on the ground and yell, escalating the disturbance. Several officers issued verbal commands for her to comply. The defendant continued to resist, jumping around and asserting her rights. The officer attempted to escort her outside. The defendant then wrapped her arms and legs around a pole, continuing to yell. The officers physically pried her from the pole and detained her. The defendant used her body weight to resist and push against the officers. The defendant was then placed in the back of the patrol car without incident.
What was she doing wrong?
So it appears she wasn't the initial person causing the disturbance, but when they came to respond to the disturbance that they were called for, she intervened. And once they asked her to remove herself from the situation, she refused.
You didn't say, when you initially started saying about everything, you didn't say that she was the initial cause of the disturbance, that there was a call for a disturbance. They get out there and she, I guess.
So what it says is that they made contact with the individual that was causing the disturbance, and then the defendant approached asking.
See,
the officers.
right. So she just comes up, starts being nosy, right?
Right.
And then she basically, I guess, is trying to leave. And then they start asking her for her information.
Well, they were asking her to leave the scene so that they can respond to the disturbance, and she wouldn't comply. I think that's the issue, that she wouldn't leave when they asked her.
Did you say that?
Yes. They asked her to move away from the scene and she refused to comply.
Show me, will you read that part again?
Mm-hmm. So when she approached the officers repeatedly asked the defendant to step back, and the defendant became belligerent, asserting that they were at her store. She eventually complied and moved away, but
So she complies, she moves away.
Right. But then she came back.
Okay.
And so at that point, when she returned, they asked her to identify herself. She refused to provide her identification. And then at that point, when they asked her to identify herself, she attempted to bypass the officers.
She leaves. She's trying to leave.
She is attempting to, she's attempting to leave again.
And then they start bucking up to her.
Sure, yeah.
Judge, what is this case?
It's on for tomorrow's docket. Let me give you the cause number. 251-1137.
Sounds like an interference.
That's what she's charged with. But so sounds like she's got a case of the nosies, you know? She goes up there, allegedly being nosy, she leaves, comes back, and then they start asking for her information. And she declines to give her information.
So, Judge, what I'm looking at here, just to add context to the situation, she approaches in an unrelated incident. It looks like she's asking what's going on. Fine. They talk to her individually. Okay. They tell her to leave. She continually asks, what's going on? What did she do? She asserts, she becomes belligerent, is what the officer says, asserting that they were at her store, obstructing their investigation. Eventually, I don't know what the time frame is, but they say eventually she complies, moves away, but insisted that they need to call a supervisor to the area. A sergeant then spoke with her privately. After they responded and they requested her information to report her behavior to her supervisor at the university, and to identify her, which she refused to do. She then attempts to bypass officers. They ask her for identification again. They're detaining her. She says no.
But what's the interference? What did she specifically do?
Well,
She's just talking to them.
I understand,
Right.
Judge, she's talking to them, but she's saying that they're at her store. She's belligerent,
So?
telling them to leave. They're at her store. The position of the state judge is that did obstruct their investigation. I mean, it's not in this, there's multiple senses of obstruction in our opinion. It's not.
Are you losing right now? Okay. Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do it. All right, I'll find no probable cause.
I'll dismiss the case, Judge.
When you go up and you get into a pissing match with officers, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Every single time. If you go up and you mess with someone who has the power of arrest, you're going to lose every single time. Don't go. It's not hard. I found no probable cause in your case, ma'am. Just be careful. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If I want to press charges, or
Don't. You know what? Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't.
they assaulted me, though. They knocked out my tooth, they chipped my tooth, I got bruises on me.
And you can always go file a complaint with Internal Affairs,
That's what I'm
with
asking.
whatever.
How could I do that? I don't know the protocols.
So what agency was this? Is this, did you say it was at a college or?
TSU.
Okay. So you go to the Texas Southern University Police, you go to Internal Affairs, and you can file a complaint that way. Okay, I would take everything that you have, and that's how you do it. Okay, but just be careful.
And I can't even go back to my job because they're trying to ban me.
I don't know. I mean, did they issue some kind of trespass warning?
No, sir.
If there's a trespass warning, be careful. I don't see that one has been filed. They haven't told me about any kind of trespass or anything, so just be careful, okay? But I found no probable cause. They're going to dismiss your case, okay? Just be careful in the future, all right, man? Okay, please. Good luck, okay, Ms. Wimbush?